What's good with it, Black Goose TV family? Your boy Fluenceboxing is back at it again. Double salute as always. I'm here with some Fluenceboxing news. We have so much that we need to talk about when it comes to the state of the heavyweight division. This past weekend, we had Andy Ruiz do a phenomenal job when it came to matching up against Luis Ortiz, showing his worth, showing how good he really is, saying, hey, man, I ain't no one-hit wonder. I'm not a fluke just because I only beat AJ and your guys' hating ass eyes. I can also beat some of these other top level heavyweight contenders. And one of those guys this past weekend just so happened to be Luis Ortiz. So with that win coming from Andy Ruiz over Luis Ortiz, we have a big shakeup in the heavyweight division. I've been saying we basically have a heavyweight tournament happening as of now. The first fight to that tournament was AJ versus Usyk 2. Obviously, AJ lost that fight. The second fight to that tournament was Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. We now have Andy Ruiz winning that fight. And then, of course, next coming up, we're going to have Joseph Parker, Joyce. After that, Robert Helenius versus Deontay Wilder. And then we might see Tyson Fury before the end of this year. But with all that being said, it's basically saying the heavyweight division is at an all-time high. Of course, we've seen some amazing things happen in the last 5 to 6 years when it comes to the heavyweight division. It's been phenomenal. It's been great, but it's been kind of quiet. It's been teetering out just a little bit. But as of late, it's sparking back up. It's back at a high level. It's back going crazy. So we're going to discuss the current state of the heavyweight division. We're going to talk about potential matchups that possibly may end up happening when it comes to Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz next year. Obviously, everything has to pan out when it comes to the heavyweight tournament. People winning the fights that they need to win. Excuse me. We're going to talk about how significant Joyce versus Joseph Parker is, because beforehand it was a big deal fight. It was a fight that people need to pay attention. But I think now with Andy Ruiz beating Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz looking for the Deontay Wilder fight next year, Joseph Parker versus Joyce means so much more than it did before. AJ now sitting on the sidelines after taking the L to Usyk. Obviously, he's probably never going to get that Usyk fight again. So because of that, we now have to wonder what's going to be AJ's next step. And then we have Tyson Fury now all of a sudden saying he's out of retirement. At one point, he was calling out Cezora. Now he's calling out Usyk. He's saying if he can't get the Usyk fight, now he wants AJ. So we have so many different moving parts, so many different moving things when it comes to the heavyweight division that we need to talk. We need to dive into. We need to discuss. We need to get into the nitty gritty. And I'm going to say this to my family members right now. Look, I love the hell out of Xfinity. But as of late, man, y'all been giving me a little bit of trouble, but I promise you right now, it's not going to affect anything that comes to tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to power through it. We're going to do what we do. By the way, and yeah, my allergies is going a little bit crazy because, I'm saying, I did my hill runs, I was outside doing, getting my miles in and all that good stuff. So I think the allergies affected me a little bit, but even with all that being said, I want to say happy Labor Day to everybody. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Labor Day weekend, regardless if you had the day off, regardless if you had an extra weekend off, whatever the case may be. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, had some fun with your family. If you was with your family, cook some good food. If you did cook some good food, or maybe if you just chilled and you was by yourself, did your own thing, and you enjoyed the combat sports side of the game, hopefully all that went well for you. I just want to shout out to the people, hopefully at the end of the day, you're going into the Tuesday tomorrow with great spirits. Now, with that being said, we're going to have to get into so much we need to talk about. We need to talk about all this shit. And by the way, if you guys got any opinions, if you got anything you guys want to say, drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat. I'm going to be dropping the link at some point. So if any of you guys want to actually join the actual live stream of this, you guys can talk your shit. You're going to be able to. It's going to be a fun stream tonight. So happy Labor Day. It's a Labor Day stream, and it's all going to be about the heavyweight division. It's all going to be about the moving parts of what's going to happen next and what we should expect and how things should go. So please, y'all join on this joint. So make sure if y'all come up in here, hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the family, road to 5K, and then, of course, notification gang, and then most importantly, comment. Let me hear your opinion at the end of the day. We got a Dari Panit in here. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Andy Ruiz versus Cezora would be fireworks next. I agree with that. That actually would be a fire-ass fight. The thing about Cezora is in a perfect position. Like, he won a very close fight in his last fight against Pulev, right? And with him being able to win that very close fight, it puts him in a position where you can kind of look at him and say, well, depending on who you want to match him up against, and y'all bear with me when it comes to the internet side of the game, we're going to get it right. It's not going to be a problem for that long. But when it comes to Cezora, he's in a very specific position because he has enough notoriety. He has enough fan base. He has enough people talking about him, watching him, where if you match him up against the right opponent, people are going to pay attention to, but it may not be that high of a risk. So Adari, to Adari's point, Andy Ruiz versus Derek Cezora. A lot of people know this, but Luis Ortiz versus Derek Cezora was a fight that they were trying to make before the Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz fight. It was just very hard to jump through a lot of those hoops because, PBC and Eddie Hearn, the zone, they don't really have the best relationship when it comes to that, when it comes to that specific space. So with that being the case, now when we look at the heavyweight division, we can, if you want to look at the totality of things, if you want to look at, the outside looking in, you want to look at the whole entire sphere, the whole entire, idea of what's going on, there's so many options that are going to come into play right now. And one of those biggest options that are coming into play is we have AJ sitting on the sideline. AJ lost to Usyk. So he's sitting there and he's waiting. And he's like, what do I have next? What can I do? I'm chilling, right? And we're going to get into the fact with Tyson Fury calling out AJ if he can't get the Usyk fight. How legitimate that is, how possible that can happen, I don't know. But we'll get into that. But with AJ sitting on the sideline, now we have guys in a power position that we never thought would be in a power position. Andy Ruiz, number one, he's in a power position, right? Who would have thought 3-4 years ago, when we looked at the whole entire landscape of the heavyweight division, when we saw Andy Ruiz do a crazy upset over AJ, right? We thought Andy Ruiz would be able to carry that into, the sunset, do his thing, and all of a sudden to be one of the greatest Mexican champions ever. Unfortunately, that's not how it happened. He came into the second fight. He was overweight. Anthony Joshua jabbed himself to a win. And Andy Ruiz was never able to touch that again. Andy Ruiz kind of went into dark mode after that. We weren't really talking about Andy Ruiz. Now we're in a position where it's actually beautiful marketing, where we begin to talk about Andy Ruiz in such a high level highlight was because he went and he joined Eddie Reynoso and Canelo. So he joined the steam that was already going, right? And now we're talking about Andy Ruiz. And you guys might not be following what I'm saying, but I think it's all strategic. I don't think Andy Ruiz ever had long-term plans to stay with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo. I think it was a publicity stunt. I think it was something to keep his name in the archives, to keep the name in the news, so we can continue to talk about him. Because in all honesty, he looked a lot better working with his own camp in this particular fight than he did when he was working with Eddie Reynoso, right? But there's a lot of factors that you can talk about when that comes into place. But with that being said, I think we're in such a very interesting position when it comes to the heavyweight division in totality. There's so many different narratives. There's so many what ifs. There's so many, okay, maybe this can happen. Maybe this can happen. Like that. We're in a position right now that I didn't think we would actually be able to be in when I look back and I think, the three-headed, monster of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, AJ, 3 to 4 years ago. Now it's like, well, yeah, okay, Tyson Fury is that top guy, but Usyk is right there waiting in the wind. Now Deontay Wilder is back. Now Andy Ruiz seems to be taking the sport seriously again, so he's a real contender. Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. As much as I would love to see Joseph Parker put on a fight, I think Joe Joyce is a new contender coming up. We can't just, discredit a guy like Daniel Dubois, who's 25 years old and is an absolute beast. Jared Anderson is 23, 24, coming up looking like a fucking beast. Big Baby Miller's back. I know that's not saying a lot, but we're in such a position when it comes to this heavyweight division. It's like, oh man, we're in for a treat if everything goes the way it should go. And that's never the case when it comes to boxing. Everything never goes the way it's supposed to go when it comes to boxing. There's always some bullshit that comes in. But for the foreseeable future, it looks good. We got Zen in the building. What's good with it? Zen, Father Time is undefeated. Yeah, that was one thing. Remember, I kept hammering. I was like, Ortiz is a goddamn beast. But, if there's one thing that I've been, there's like, even when you go to the MMA side of the game, there's so many MMA fighters that I love. I absolutely adore. That brought me into the game. Boxing as well. But I'm getting older. The game's getting older. And those same people that brought me into the game, I see that, at the end of the day, this is a young man's game. You can't take that away. It's always going to be a young man's game. So it's like, it's something that you either going to live and you're going to learn, or you're going to live and you're going to, regret, or you're going to live and you're going to try and push back. In this particular instance, I feel like Luis Ortiz is a goddamn beast, but Father Time definitely showed his place when it came to that Andy Ruiz fight. Adari Pennant went on to say Andy Ruiz would knock out Derek Cezora. If he doesn't knock out Derek Cezora, I think it would be a pretty easy fight for him. I think maybe the first 2 to 3, 4 rounds, it would be interesting because Derek Cezora is a guy that will come very aggressively toward Ruiz. But I think Ruiz at this point in his career, he was in the ring with somebody like Joshua the second time who decided to just strictly box with him. So he felt that. And then he was in the ring with someone like Luis Ortiz, who was like, hey, I'm just going to box with you. So he felt that. So I think Andy Ruiz is a guy at this point where he's been in the ring with high-level opponents who said, hey, my whole entire goal is to box with you, keep you on the outside and do what I need to do. And I think Andy Ruiz is matured enough and fighting against high-level enough opponents to this particular point where now we're looking at him and we're saying, well, okay, he knows what, as long as he comes in discipline, he has a good training camp, he focuses on the right thing, him coming into a situation or into a fight where the matchup is there's a better boxer than him, Andy Ruiz seems to have, found a comfortable spot or a comfort zone where that's okay if somebody says he's a better boxer than me. I know how to prepare for this. I know how disciplined I need to be. I know how to be able to negate the fact that he's a better boxer than me or he has physical attributes that he can utilize against me to show off his boxing skills. And we saw that against Luis Ortiz. Like that, basically what he did with Luis Ortiz turned everything around, because I thought the biggest problem Andy Ruiz would have with Luis Ortiz was going to be the boxing ability, getting inside of the jab, getting on the inside, landing big shots. But he landed those big shots. He got on the inside pretty easily. And some may say, going back to Zen, maybe it was Father Time. Maybe Luis Ortiz lost a step. Maybe there were certain openings or things that, he probably would have not allowed to happen a couple years ago that happened now. It's neither here nor there. All that's hearsay. All that's what ifs. We can only put so much weight on those particular statements. We just have to go off of what the result is and what we are looking at in the foreseeable future. And as of now, we're going into round 3 of the heavyweight tournament with Anthony Joshua losing the first round, obviously, against Usyk. And then we have Luis Ortiz losing against Andy Ruiz. So now the next step is to see how is Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce going to fare? How is that fight going to go? Derry Pennant went on to say, Luis Ortiz versus Krubat Pulev would be a good boxing match. That would actually be a fire fight. I like that. That's the thing. That was something me and Zen was talking about a lot when it came to Luis Ortiz. Like, if he loses to Andy Ruiz, let's say he gets totally washed, totally just dusted, easy work. Does Luis Ortiz just retire? Does he decide to hang up the gloves, right? Is that something he should do? And it's like, okay, no, he didn't get dusted. Luis Ortiz didn't get dusted. He didn't get, knocked out into oblivion. He didn't look like an amateur. Yeah, he did get knocked down 3 times in the fight, but he recovered every time and he came back harder. He survived the entire fight. He actually showed a much better showing than Anthony Joshua did in the first fight against Andy Ruiz. So I do not think Luis Ortiz should retire. I think there's fights still out there for him. Luis Ortiz versus Kubrat Pulev would be a fire fight for him. Luis Ortiz versus Tyrone Spong would be a fire fight for him. I think there's still fights out there, but my main focus that I want to try and like pinpoint, I want to talk about, I want to discuss is, as much as I love Luis Ortiz, and I hate to say this, but it's like, hey, baby, we got to ask you out of that future heavyweight, decision, future heavyweight, what's going to be going on, what's our, our momentum, how we moving forward, what the case may be, because at the end of the day, there's fights set up, and there's an outcome to whoever wins. There's an outcome to whoever loses. So as of now, when you look at it, okay, Usyk versus Joshua 2 happened. Joshua lost. Joshua is on that sideline now. It is what it is. You out of the playoffs, brother. You lost. So Usyk is at that top spot. So we got to figure out, who does Usyk fight next, or what makes the most sense, okay? Now we go into the second fight of the tournament. Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz won. So now Andy Ruiz, top spot. Who we looking at, right? Andy Ruiz is talking about he wants Deontay Wilder. Y'all can see in the topics below, he wants Deontay Wilder next year in May. He wants him on the Cinco de Mayo type shit, right? But we can't really talk about that because we still have Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius to happen. Deontay Wilder needs to beat Robert Helenius. I know a lot of people saying, well, what? Of course he's going to beat him. That's easy work. We don't know. I'm going to say this. When it comes to this year, I've had so many surprises when it comes to combat sports. So I'm not going to just sit here and sit on my butt and say, oh, yeah, just because Deontay Wilder is fighting someone I know he can beat, he's going to beat him. Robert Helenius is coming off a two-fight win streak. Beat Adam Kownacki twice. The first time he beat him, no one expects him to do it. Helenius is no joke, 6'7", big boy. Can punch, but he takes a hit. You know what I'm saying? When he punches, he gives one to take one. So I know that's in Wilder's favor, yes. But until then, we need to see that fight before we make any statements that are firm, and are adamant. So this is what I'm getting at, BlakGooseTV family. I just want to say much love to everybody, man. Much love to Derry Pennant being up in here early. You know what I'm saying? Dropping it. Zen being up in here. Once I get to about like 30 minutes, probably like 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to throw the actual link in here. So if anybody wants to actually hop in here, click on the link, have they say whatever they want, drop a topic, whatever, y'all going to be able to do that. So if y'all can stick around that long, about to the 30, 45 minute, mark, we're going to get lit. But when we're looking at the current state of the heavyweight division, right, we're looking at how everything is going. We're looking at how everything is looking. When we're talking about the top of the top, Tyson Fury's number 1. Number 2 is Alexander Usyk. Number 3, a lot of you guys will be very surprised by this. This is my personal opinion, but I think number 3 is AJ. It's not Deontay Wilder. As much as I want to say number 3 is Deontay Wilder, it's not. It's because Deontay Wilder took that layoff, right? He took the layoff after the loss to Tyson Fury. Excuse me. The way people are going to look at that, right? People outside of Deontay Wilder fan base. Well, Wilder, you lost to Tyson Fury, and you took this extraordinary time off. You were also thinking about retiring. I love you, Wilder. I know you probably, your only loss is to one of the greatest heavyweights ever. But I can only give you so much love. I can only give you so much respect for that, because I have a guy in AJ who he's taken L's and he's gotten back right in the ring that same year. That's one thing you can't take away from AJ. AJ is taking L's and he's back in the ring the next year. He's back in the ring that same year. Usyk he lost to, and he wanted to get that rematch as fast as possible. Lost to him again, upset. And AJ is already talking about he wants a Tyson Fury fight, which we're going to get into. We have topics, guys. We're going to get into all these topics, I promise you. This is all the lead up to it. I'm clipping everything, so we're going to be good. But this is all the lead up into it, man. I'm telling you right now. And I want to make sure that, the internet, the Wi-Fi gets a little bit stronger as we keep going. But, like, if there's something, like, I see this, ongoing narrative when it comes to AJ is he doesn't have a dog in him. He has no heart. He's not really about that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like losing these, and it's weird. And I don't understand why people feel that way when it comes to AJ, because when I watch AJ, it's like, dude takes L's and he's ready to get right back in the ring. I've seen guys take L. Like, I love Wilder. Wilder's one of my favorite fighters, but look how long it took him to come back to the ring after the Tyson Fury L. And we're giving Wilder the benefit of the doubt because we're saying, well, Tyson Fury is the best ever. Well, AJ only lost to Andy Ruiz, which he came right back in a rematch and he won. And his only other loss is to Usyk. And when he lost to Usyk the first time, he went the rematch immediately, which he took the rematch when it was available to him. And yeah, he lost again, but you already see AJ saying, hey, yo, Tyson Fury, you calling me out for December. Let's make it happen. So I don't understand why we don't acknowledge that when it comes to AJ. And I'm not even a big AJ fan. Adari Pennant went on to say, Agit Cabiel versus Frank Sanchez. Frank Sanchez next will be great. I'm so happy you said that, Adari, because I've been very hyper focused on a specific group when it comes to the heavyweight division, right? I'm so happy you said this, and I'm very happy with Xfinity right now because they're showing me love for the internet side of the game. The beginning of this was really choppy, but hopefully you guys are still here and everything's a little bit more clear. You know what I'm saying? So show your boy love. And by the way, if y'all stay up in this joint, so about 30 to 35 minutes, I'll be dropping the link and y'all can hop up in here with your boy. But I'm so happy you said that because a guy like Cabiel, he doesn't get talked about enough. Frank Sanchez doesn't get talked about enough, right? Like when I'm looking at the heavyweight division, when I'm looking at the tournaments that are coming into place, I'm like the first part of the tournament, right? The first fight, in my personal opinion, was AJ versus Usyk 2. Everything, or a lot of things were dictated. A lot of things were planned. A lot of things were positioned. A lot of things were put into place around that particular fight happening and what the outcome was, right? AJ ends up losing. Usyk ends up getting the W for that second fight. Okay, awesome. Now the next fight coming up and rolling into play. Now we have to talk about, we have Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. There's a lot of weight coming into this particular fight when it comes to heavyweight division. This is a lot of y'all don't know. This is like a Grand Prix. I don't know if you guys watch MMA, but MMA, if you look at Strikeforce back in the day, Bellator does it now. One championship did it for the lower weight division for flyweight. A Grand Prix where you have a particular, okay, this is the flyweight division. We're gonna have a tournament. These guys fight these guys, and then whoever keeps winning, they're going to fight the best at the end of it. Like, that's what I see happening in this particular boxing heavyweight division right now, without it being said, but you can look at it that way and how it's presented. So now we had Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. Ruiz ends up being Luis Ortiz. So Usyk beats Joshua. Usyk is the top dog. Now Andy Ruiz beats Luis Ortiz. Now Andy Ruiz is in a position where he can demand certain fights, and he's already demanding, I want the Deontay Wilder fight. Next up, we're going to have Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce. Whoever wins that fight, I promise you is going to call out AJ. Quote me here. Whoever wins Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce, they're going to call out AJ. And then we have Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. Andy Ruiz will probably be in attendance for that fight. Whoever wins that fight will fight Andy Ruiz. So everything is in the place. But I love that you brought up Agate Cabiel versus Frank Sanchez. No, that's not in the play. But why it would be a great fight is because some of these other heavyweights need to get their shine, because I think a guy like Agate Cabiel, Frank Sanchez should be talked about more. A guy like Jared Anderson should be talked about more. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys should be talked about more, because Daniel Dubois, like these are the guys who are like sitting at the cusp or right on the outside looking in. Like, I want to get into this heavyweight tournament. It's like what World Boxing Super Series used to do before they got shut down on that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Derry Pennant went on to say there is much better qualities of heavyweights now than the Klitschko's era. Yeah, absolutely. Let's even break that down even a little bit more. It's not only that there's better quality of heavyweights, but the market of combat sports have opened up so much that there's been pressure putting on boxing. And what I mean by that is, I just learned, the other night, Sunday, we had some, I wish I remembered his username, but he came in, he said, I got put on the boxing from KSI versus Logan Paul. And I was like, I was thinking, man, you don't know shit. But as he kept talking, like, he knew his shit. So it's almost like the ability to see, distribute, learn information. There's an appreciation to boxers' skill level that wouldn't have been able to be appreciated in the Klitschko era because the internet wasn't around. And that's what I'm loving. Also because of competition. People are watching MMA, depending on what organization, PFL, UFC, One Championship. We're seeing how these other organizations, when it comes to combat sports, even though it's not boxing, is running what they're doing, and they're putting the best against the best. So that put pressure on boxing. COVID put pressure on boxing as well. And so now we're in a position where we see some of the, in my opinion, we see some phenomenal heavyweights putting themselves in a position where they don't need to be in. Andy Ruiz didn't have to fight Luis Ortiz. They did it. Joshua didn't have to fight Usyk for the second time, but he did it. He could have easily took a fight in between. He could have delayed the second fight, went on a 4-5 fight winning streak, put himself in a position where now Usyk is still the championship and saying, well, I deserve the belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we really look at how things are going right now in the boxing community, it's really different and unprecedented if you really want to look at it. Because it's almost like we're seeing boxers starting to understand how important it is to submit their legacy now, because it's starting to shift, because we have so much access to information where we're judging these boxers on a much higher level critique, because we're saying, hey, guys, we know how good you are, but we also have enough information in our hands to know that if you don't want to take that fight with that particular boxer, either you're ducking or your promotional company isn't giving enough leeway to make it happen. And that's going to affect the boxer's legacy in the long run. It's different than beforehand. Klitschko could say, well, I don't have to fight some of the best heavyweights because I don't have to. It just is not working out. And we couldn't say anything about it because we only had so much information accessible to us. Now we have it all. It's all accessible to us. So we can bash at Andy Ruiz and say, Ruiz, you were scared to fight Luis Ortiz. You don't want that fight. AJ, you don't want to fight Wilder. You know what I'm saying? It's much easier for us to put this narrative and paint this narrative because we feel like we have the information to say, hey, no, I see this right here in front of my face. That's not the case. I already said they should make a heavyweight Grand Prix Ultimate Contender tournament, make things easier for that. Would be absolute fire. But that would take away from the money. Because let's be real, they're technically doing that right now. They just don't want to. They just not making it public. That's what they're doing right now. They're keeping the top at the top. Tyson Fury, you don't got to fight no one because you're the money man, right? Alexander Usyk, you did have to fight someone AJ in that second fight, but now you can kind of chill a little bit. Look what they're doing for Deontay Wilder. Y'all want to say what y'all want about Deontay Wilder. Y'all want to criticize him. Y'all want to talk shit, all these different type of things. There's a reason why Wilder was able to pick Robert Helenius as his comeback fight, and he didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? There was a reason why he had to pick of the litter. They understand the money behind Wilder. Everything is strategic, guys. Don't be so caught up in the feelings. Stephen Shaw, U.S. versus Zan Kasibadi, good boxing match. That's a fact. But it's like people just have to remember, man, there's so much more to meet the eye. But I think that people are starting to realize that simply off the factor of there's information being presented to us that we can take and we can grasp. Obviously, we're all going to take our own opinion to it. Obviously, we're all going to have our own idea of how we're going to, receive that particular information. We're all going to have our own perspective of how we're going to, display it, or how we're going to, put it out there for the public to actually, take in. That's fine. There's not a problem when it comes to any of that. I'm just trying to open the people's eyes up to say, hey, all this stuff, it is orchestrated, but it's orchestrated in the sense of we understand how the times are moving. We understand how things are progressing. We understand how important it is to, as much as we want to keep on making some of these dud fights, we can't do that anymore. We can't do it. And one of the biggest things, like one of the biggest examples I can say is Joseph Parker versus Joyce. Joseph, like let's be honest, as much as I am a Joyce fan and I love Joyce, Joseph Parker didn't have to take that fight. Joseph Parker doesn't gain anything from beating Joyce. Joyce gains everything from beating Joseph Parker. But this fight is happening because this is the current state of boxing. These big fights need to happen. So that's why when I look at like a Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, and we have all this speculation, and they're both in the States, they're both working with U.S. promoters, I'm saying this fight is never going to happen. Because we're literally seeing promoters who don't like each other make other fights happen. Because that's the state that we're in right now. That's just the reality. Hit that like button. Show some love. You know what I'm saying, people? We here. Dari said, Jared Anderson versus Daniel Dubois would be a good future fight. Damn! That's a fire fight. I would love to see that. I would love to see... I love Daniel Dubois. I said it for a long time before Daniel Dubois actually ended up fighting Joyce. I said he's way too young. Frank Warren is playing this man in the sense of not his money and how he's taking care of him. I'm saying Frank Warren sees what AJ is doing over with Eddie Hearn. Frank Warren, obviously his daddy, has a lot of long-term beef with Eddie Hearn's daddy, and he was trying to make Daniel Dubois the next Anthony Joshua way too quick. Like this nigga Daniel Dubois, I remember when he was 22 years old, and Frank Warren was like, yeah, he's finna be the next Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was 28 doing crazy shit. I'm like, how can you even compare the two? And so because of that, Frank Warren fucked Daniel Dubois over and had him fight Joyce at the young age of 23 years old and got destroyed. But I still think Daniel Dubois can be an absolute monster. It's one of those factors where it's like either that loss early in his career is going to influence him to be absolutely amazing, or it might be his downfall. So I've always been a strong advocate for Daniel Dubois, but I've also been someone who said that Frank Warren was a guy who he was trying to be in direct competition with Eddie Hearn. And because he was in direct competition with Eddie Hearn at the time, he threw away Daniel Dubois' future to an extent because he had him go in there with someone he shouldn't have fought at a time in his career, which it didn't make any sense. A lot of people don't know Daniel Dubois is still barely only 25. Why would you make somebody at 22 years old, 23 years old fight someone like Joyce, 32 years old, and is a fucking monster? Like what? He fought Usyk. Like that's so stupid. Stupidest things in the world. Adari said, Bakar Jalal versus Jared Anderson is also an awesome fight for the future. That is a very good fight as well. I think Anderson also wins that. Like me personally, I think Anderson is the future of the heavyweight division if utilized in the right direction, if utilized in the right way. Jared Anderson, the only knock that you can give Jared Anderson, not his skill, not his conditioning, not his precision, not his footwork, not his power. It's his physical attributes. Technically, he's small for the heavyweight division. What does that mean? Maybe it doesn't mean anything. We see what Usyk is doing now. 6'3", 240, 245. And this is the thing when it comes to the heavyweight division, man. Sometimes I feel like we be trying to make it into this major sport of football or basketball where our heavyweights have to be 6'8", 6'9". And it's like when we really look at it, some of our best heavyweights, they hovered around 6'3" to 6'4" to 215. Muhammad Ali comes into mind. Joe Frazier comes into mind. Like some of the best. Of course, we had the big dogs with George Foreman, but even Mike Tyson was a small. Like some of the greatest heavyweights, their physique, the way they were compacted when it comes to how they moved, they were never really that big. And it's almost as if as recent we've been trying to change that narrative, and it's like Jared Anderson, he really kind of fits into that perfect, compact. Usyk is kind of bringing that back against Joshua. When Joshua came in the game, everyone was saying Joshua was the perfect physique for a heavyweight, all this stuff. Usyk 6'3", 2, he came up from cruiserweight. He had to put on the pounds for 235. Did what he did. Jared Anderson is 6'3", 6'4", man. 235, 240, man. Deontay Wilder, I always get so upset when I talk about Wilder, man. I think he had the worst advice in the world when they told him he needed to bulk up for his last 2 Tyson Fury fights. I don't think he needed to. I think he should have stayed at 215. Like, I think in this particular sport, how it's made, like I like to, this is such a weird comparison, but I like to compare boxing to basketball. Why? Nothing specific. But what I do like to say is the most successful big men in the game today and how the game has changed are these guys who are 6'8", 6'7", 6'9", but they have a lower body weight. 215, 220, 230. They're able to carry around easily because they're able to be agile. They're able to move around. I see heavyweight the same way. I think, yeah, that's fine. The taller you are, the better. Yeah, because you have athletic attributes that are going to work in your favor. That's beautiful. The heavy you are is a problem. And I think that's the problem. I think that's where the discrepancy comes, me personally, where I have a problem with some of these new age heavyweights, or the idea of what you need to be as a new age heavyweight, where it's like, all right, you need to be this tall, but you also need to weigh this much. It's like, nah, man, a lower weight helps when it comes to these guys, because that's the type of field that they're in. That's the type of sport that we're talking about. That's the type of exercise that we're alluding to. It requires a lower body weight. It requires something where it's like, okay, I can be 6'7", 6'8", whatever the case may be, but if I'm 215, 213, I can, be able to do what I need to do throughout these rounds. That's my personal opinion. And people don't really acknowledge that. And they said Vladislav, y'all roll with me too, how I'm pronouncing some of these names, because Darius coming with them names, goddammit. Shurienko versus Arizlambek Makhmadov would be great. I'm not disputing that none. Y'all rock with me too. The internet's trying to be on some bullshit, but we're going crazy with it. You already know what it is. Zen, drop a like, y'all. Subscribe. Yeah, please, man. Hit the like button, subscribe. Soon we're gonna be going into some articles and be throwing some shit up, you know what I'm saying? But right now I'm just ranting and all that good stuff. And I'm trying to make sure, you know what I'm saying, I got some good Wi-Fi so y'all can rock with me. You feel me? Because shit gonna be going in and out. Niggas got problems with me. I got a bill to pay. That's the problem. Y'all niggas want me to pay that bill, but y'all know I got beef with y'all. Adara went on to say, can you imagine if Muhammad Ali was a southpaw heavyweight boxer? What's even crazier is that people don't even want to talk about. It's like, it's not even just, can you imagine if Muhammad Ali was a southpaw heavyweight boxer at the time? What if training, boxing period, acknowledged or encouraged fighters to switch their stances? During that time, it wasn't really encouraged for fighters to switch their stances. That wasn't really a thing at the time. So if you were to do it, it was looked at as like, nah, nigga, that ain't right. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? It was looked at in a certain, light. It was looked in a certain way. So it's like, because that's the stance, it's like, okay, well, I'm not really gonna do it. Even Terrence Crawford, man. Terrence Crawford talks about this. He said when he used to switch stances and go to southpaw, his trainer would tell him, like, no, that's wrong, nigga. You orthodox. Why are you switching to southpaw? And it's like, a lot of times what he ended up doing was like, he was like, I had to make a deal with my trainer. I had to tell him, like, hey, let me switch. If I continue to win, or if I continue to have success when I'm able to switch my stances, then let me to continue to do this, because this feels natural to me. A lot of people don't know, man. Boxing is so fundamentally based that it's like, it's almost like a hierarchy, or it's like an idea where it's like, if you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it right. So if you go in a lot of these boxing gyms, they're like, if you're not doing it the way I'm saying you're supposed to be doing it, it's not the right way, which is stupid, obviously. But that's just what the case was. You feel me? Like, that's just how they felt about it. Adari said, Basar Apareva versus Victor. Man, I'm doing the best with these names. You give me all the crazy names, Adari. Lazarbek Mulanov versus Thomas Carty would be great future fights. Yeah, you got to break those down. The names is crazy, man. You gotta break those down. I'm a hardcore boxing fan, but you going deep into the bag. Y'all forgive me too for the internet connection. I'm having some troubles tonight. I already know what the reason is. I promise y'all. Y'all keep fucking with me. Y'all keep rolling with me. Next week, this weekend, we're not going to have no internet connection problems, period. I promise you that. I already know what it is. I'm going to get it fixed. But tonight, we rocking, we rolling. I got love for the family so much, man. I don't give a fuck about none of that no more, man. I've been in this thing doing it so much, man. I'm dealing with that, man. I just got nothing but love to people. But Dari Penny said, look, look what Alexander Usyk did against Anthony Joshua. Shows the WBC Bridgeweight division is a waste of time, unnecessary, pure garbage. That's actually a great point. If you guys don't know, the Bridgeweight division was actually brought into boxing this past year. Oscar Ruiz was one of the guys who actually benefited from that. He ended up getting a Bridgeweight title from that, but no one's really talking about it. I don't know if you guys remember Oscar Ruiz. He kind of had a little clout behind him before kind of losing it, and he lost it because he fought Dillian White maybe a couple years ago, year and a half, whatever the case may be. There was also speculation they used Deontay Wilder's name to kind of promote the Bridgeweight division, and saying that, Deontay Wilder might be thinking about going down to the Bridgeweight division to reclaim his title if he doesn't, decide to come back and fight heavyweight. But I agree. The Bridgeweight division is bullshit. I don't know why it's a division. Don't make no sense to me. Whole lot of bullshit. Don't make no sense. Shouldn't be in place. Not in the slightest. Not in the utmost. Whatever the case may be. That's how I feel. I'm 100%. Excuse me. I'm 100% with y'all when it comes to that. Yeah, see, I got the hiccup game going crazy. All right. So look, we 36 minutes into this, man. I want to say happy motherfucking Labor Day to everybody. Happy Monday. So much shit we want to talk about when it comes to boxing community. I went ahead. I did my rants about a whole lot of things, but now we're gonna get into the topics. All right, we're gonna get into topics. I started this with my rants, my opinions, perspective. We talked went back and forth with Adari. Salute to you, Adari. Anybody who's in there right now, hit the like button. What we're going to do from here on out, we're going to get into the specific topics. One of the first ones we're going to be talking about, Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz. Is that going to be happen 2023? Why am I even speculating for it to happen? Y'all should already know. Y'all saw the Andy Ruiz fight, right? Deontay Wilder came in for the post-fight interview. They had little words. They had some things said. Andy Ruiz, allegedly said he would love to fight Deontay Wilder next year in May for the Cinco de Mayo weekend. I think that's something that's going to happen as long as Deontay Wilder can obviously defeat Robert Helenius, which is going to come up. But let's get into the details and nitty gritty. Y'all bear with me when it comes to all the internet problems. I promise you this is not going to be something y'all going to have to deal with in the long term. I'm getting all that taken care of. But much love to everybody who's here. Much love to everybody right now who's showing some love, man. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. But we're going to get into this right now. I'm going to throw it up. Thanks. God bless you always, every day, every time. No, appreciate you, Adari. For real, for real. What I'm gonna do too, and I said I'm gonna drop the link. So I'm dropping the link. We 37 minutes in. So anybody who actually wants to join this joint, y'all bear with me. Because if you do end up joining, I don't know what it's gonna do, as far as the Xfinity side of the game from my internet, it might chop up a little bit more. But as long as y'all can join, y'all can have some fun. That's all that matters. You feel me? Especially for the night. Happy Labor Days to the people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all barbecued, y'all watched some good stuff, but there go the link. I just dropped the link 38 minutes in. But what we gonna do to start this off, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up for the first article that we're gonna be diving into. And it obviously has to do with the possibility, and it's not an article, my bad, y'all. It's actually gonna be a video of Andy Ruiz speaking on the possibility of Deontay Wilder fight happening next year. So I don't know how specific it will be. It's this post-fight press conference. So there's about 10 minutes in it. I'm actually gonna take me a little break real quick. So I'm gonna let this ride out and play for a little bit so y'all can watch it. So I can do my little break. You know what I'm saying? I want to salute to everybody. Appreciate everybody as always, man. Well, I'll put the subtitles on that joint as well for my people. You feel me? But if y'all want to hop up in here at any time, man, y'all just go ahead and hit that link. We're having a good time tonight, man. I got my food over there chilling. It's 10:30, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Y'all don't even know. So here I go. I'm actually going to make it even smaller on my side of the game because I'm going to go take me a little break, little bathroom break, all that good stuff. But we're going to play this right here. It's the post-fight press conference. Andy Ruiz after the Luis Ortiz fight. It's not the entirety of it. It's only 10 minutes of it. Part of it, he is addressing whether or not he wants to fight Deontay Wilder when he wants to fight it. Let's see if we'll get to that point. But I'm going to play this right now so I can take me a little break. But salute to the people, man. Make sure you got hopping up in here. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Show some love. Let's get it.
Because without him, I wouldn't have won this victory. It was a hell of a fight, man. It was tough. That guy's hella tough, man. But I had to be smart. I had to be cautious. I was waiting a little bit too much to counterpunch. I thought when I had him hurt, I should have started throwing more combinations. But like I said, he
like
hard,
y'all.
so I had to be more cautious and wait until I could counterpunch him.
If you have questions from the media, by all means, raise your hand and away from Sam Jackson, one of our esteemed publicists, along with Kelly Swanson, to ask the question and give us your media platform. Go ahead, Steve.
Steven Correno, Kelwar Sports. Congratulations, Andy. It was a great victory. You were moving to your right a lot into his left hand, but I felt like when you went forward is when you had a lot of success catching him and dropping him and things like that. Why was he making you go to his left, or was that part of the strategy to move to?
The strategy was trying to go to the right and to the left, trying to confuse him a bit, feigning him. That's why it took him a long time for him to load up, because he knew that I was going to counterpunch too. So the more I moved to the left, to my left, he would counter. So I started moving to the right, and that's when I started countering. And I was waiting for him to throw the left hand so I could throw my right hand, and it worked beautifully.
Andy, first of all, man, congratulations on your victory. How satisfied are you? What would you give your performance? What grade would you give it?
I think I'll give it a B, man, because I did feel a little off the distance, and I was coming out of a year layoff, so I thought I did pretty good, especially fighting a veteran, a strong veteran that hits hard, and he was pretty smart, And then my first time fighting a lefty, and a lot of people were saying he was actually saying that he was gonna knock me down and all that, but he didn't even do that one time, and I just thank God that I got to drop him, and I couldn't close the TKO or anything like that, but I got the victory like I told everybody.
First, congratulations on your victory tonight. Well fought, Andy. You and Ortiz both. Andy, after the fight, I met up and talked to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder said basically that he was recognizing that all roads look like they're leading to you and him locking arms, and he welcomes the challenge. How open are you to?
It's crazy. I came back at the perfect, at the perfect point where the reporter was asking the question we need to talk about. But yeah, let's go ahead.
Fighting Deontay Wilder, will you be cheering for him on the 15th?
Of course, man. That's one of the dream fights that I always had, just like Ortiz, and it's just another step closer to get that WBC belt that I've always been praying and wishing for. And thanks to God, we got this victory. Hopefully, he gets his victory in October, and we can make this fight happen. He's under Al Heyman just like me, so it's a fight where it could be easily made. And I'm ready, man. I want to stay busy. I want to go straight to the gym again because, like I said, I didn't feel I'm 100%, but we got the victory.
Said that Ortiz hit harder. Who hit harder, Josh?
Before we get into that question, because that's a damn good question, we're gonna find out who hits harder between Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz. That's gonna be interesting. But I want to say this. I want to give my respect. I want to give my props. I want to give salutations. I want to say salute to Andy Ruiz, because I've definitely seen the improvement in Andy Ruiz. Like, I'm not gonna lie when it comes to that. He's coming from, because against the first AJ fight, he looked phenomenal. The second AJ fight, you can tell there was a dip there. There was a you know what I'm saying? And I can only imagine, like me, myself, you know what I'm saying? I made that amount of money, who knows what it is, So I don't criticize on that. I hate when people criticize and say, well, Ruiz, what you did, I never seen Muhammad Ali did. We're talking about different times. Muhammad Ali never touched the money Ruiz did. Okay, so, but seeing him go into the Chris Arreola fight, me personally, I didn't think he really looked that sharp. I didn't really think he looked that good, which is also the reasoning why I thought Luis Ortiz would beat Andy Ruiz, because I was going based off of how he looked against Chris Arreola. But I think it really made a difference. The camp switch, going with his own team, doing what he did. He looked like a different fighter against Luis Ortiz. Yes, Luis Ortiz outboxed him, but Andy Ruiz didn't get outboxed to the sense where he was taking him out of his game plan. he was getting outboxed, similar to what I talk about Deontay Wilder, where it's like, well, yeah, you can win right now. You can get these points, but I'm just allowing you to get comfortable. So now I can get off what my strengths are. That's part of my game plan. Part of my game plan is getting outboxed. And a lot of guys may not understand that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to go into depth on that, but I'm like, part of his game plan is allowing Luis Ortiz to be comfortable enough at some point where when I do let go of this overhand right, you're not there ready to predict to block it or be ready to counter it. So I give Andy Ruiz that. I think Andy Ruiz looked very good against Luis Ortiz. No problem. Like I bet against Luis Ortiz. I bet against Andy Ruiz. I lost $100 against him. So I'm not being biased. He looked amazing. He didn't look shook when he was being outboxed. He didn't look shook when he was being behind the jab. He didn't look shook when he was able to get in range. He was just so down to the game plan. So it's weird. It's interesting because especially someone who being a guy like AJ, he's getting better. Like he's progressing. Like that's a very beautiful thing. Murat Garcia versus Ali Arena de Ruiz would be fireworks. Absolutely. Can I ask you this, though, Adari Pinnick? Because I'm going to say this. You're pointing out beautiful fights, but let's be real. When we're talking about the top upper echelons of the heavyweight boxing sport, like, do you think Murat Garcia really is in that conversation? You know? And I know that's not what you're saying. You're just putting out really good fights that can actually happen that aren't happening. You know, I agree with that. But I also know that at the same time, sometimes recognition, sometimes eyes, people paying attention also matters when it comes to how highly touted you're going to put a heavyweight. So a lot of times it's like, okay, if you put these fights together, now you have people really paying attention to these fighters and seeing how good they are. So I actually understand that perspective as well. Yeah, I don't know if you're coming at it when it comes to this, but I just want to say this when it comes to Andy Ruiz. I'm going to say respect because God damn it, you looked amazing in this fight, and I didn't expect you to do that to Andy Ruiz. To Luis Ortiz, and this also shows Luis Ortiz. You do not need to stop fighting. You need to come. You're a beast because you gave Ortiz. You had a better showing than Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz in both fights. So Ortiz isn't no slouch. So I would actually, and we're gonna get into this. I know we're 47 minutes in, but hopefully I can rewind to this. Adara, you've been here the whole time. Please remind me to get this point. When it comes to this heavyweight tournament, AJ's waiting in the wings, right? Tyson Fury's thinking about maybe fight. I think most likely if Tyson Fury fights before the end of this year, is going to be against Derek Cezora. If AJ looks for another fight, I think he should fight Luis Ortiz. I think he should. I know it will never happen, but this fight right here, Andy Ruiz with Luis Ortiz, cements Ortiz as a goddamn beast because Ortiz is not 43. He's 46 or 47 years old. And Ruiz couldn't stop him. Actually, when Ruiz put him on his back, it seemed like Ortiz was mad, and he really went to knock out. AJ didn't even show that. Areola put up a very good showing against Andy Ruiz. I won't lie. I can't take that away from Areola. Areola looked amazing. But, okay. Adari want to respond? Yes. Okay. So, okay. That makes sense then. That makes sense. But I want to go ahead. I'm going to play the rest of this. I want to see who he says hits harder between Joshua and Ortiz. I'm interested. Let's go.
Joshua Ortiz.
I think they both hit hard, man. I think Anthony Joshua caught me when I didn't see a punch, and I think he put me down like that. But with Luis Ortiz, I was cautious. I was looking at all the punches that he would hit me. So there's a punch that he got me good, and I just seen it straight coming. Boom.
I think this is also why I love Andy Ruiz because he's so goddamn humble. Has a son there next to him, nothing but respect to him. I love fatherhood. He's so goddamn humble because he said they both. So the reporter asked, and this is me breaking it down, and it may be wrong, but he's like, the reporter asked, who hits harder? And he said they both hit really hard. Anthony Joshua hit me with a punch that I didn't see coming, and then he said, listen, with Luis Ortiz, this is what he said. He said, I was being very cautious and making sure that I was paying attention to make sure he didn't hit me with a punch I didn't see coming. And now he's describing the punch that he got hit with that he saw coming. So it's obvious he's saying Luis Ortiz hit harder. And it was almost like, in such a respectful and beautiful manner, he was saying like, AJ hit me with a shot I didn't see coming. Ortiz hit me with a shot that I saw, and that shit hurt. But let me go ahead and finish it. Andy Ruiz, man, such a humble guy. Man, I'm now a fan of Andy Ruiz. I wasn't before. I'm a fan now, and I'm gonna be split. It's gonna be a tough fight if he ends up fighting Deontay Wilder next year, and it will. That's That's what the crossroads are leading to. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz, not Deontay Wilder versus AJ, not Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. If Wilder beats Salinas, we're gonna have Wilder versus Andy Ruiz next year, and most likely, I don't see Fury fighting Usyk before the end of the year. That's stupid. Fury won't fight AJ before the end of the year. That would be dumb as well. We'll probably see Fury versus Derek Cezora. Usyk will probably be good for the rest of the year. So next year, I think next year we'll see Fury versus I think we see Fury versus AJ before Fury versus Usyk. But let's finish this.
Boom, boom, and I was like, damn. And
So look,
but they all hit hard, man. They all fucking hit hard, and I feel the advantage that I took that punch well was because of the way that I had on. I think if I would have been at 250 something, I think it would have dropped me, and it would have been
Andy Ruiz is literally, and I don't know if this is because they're part of PBC, but please stop disrespecting Luis Ortiz, guys. Please. Andy is literally saying, like, I would have gotten dropped easily if I would have been at a lighter weight. Stop disrespecting him, man. Luis Ortiz in that match. Stop disrespecting. And I love that Andy Ruiz is giving him the credit. And I don't know, they both from PBC, all that good stuff. So a lot of people could argue, oh, this, that, and the other. But he said, AJ, he caught me with a punch I didn't see coming. With Luis Ortiz, he said he hit me with a shot I saw coming 100 miles away. And that shit still fucked me up. That's different. Hadari said, I would like Anthony Joshua versus Luis Ortiz next. That's me personally, in my head, that's the fight to make. But, it may be a little bit too high of a risk. But I think at this point, I think Luis Ortiz kind of showed his age against Andy Ruiz. I think if I was Joshua, I would jump on that fight. Dillian White versus Gerald Miller is an awesome fight. Big Baby Miller, see, we're talking about 3 years ago, Big Baby Miller wins that fight. Now, Dillian White will knock Big Baby Miller out. Big Baby Miller, he needs at least a year and a half in the game before he even talks about any of these high-level fighters. I love that you brought that up, though, Adari, for real. Big Baby Miller, he's one of my favorite fighters, for real. But if you want to be realistic, them popping for them steroids, popping for them PEDs, man, nah. He need to continue. He's had two or three fights, I think, this past year. And basically he's getting in shape through the fights. So he needs one more fight before the end of the year, maybe two more if he can get it. Next year he needs a couple, but he's definitely not in a position where he should be arguing about or even wanting any of these big anything when we're talking about like what you're talking about, like a Dillian White. Hell no. Dillian White would I hate to say it, but Dillian White will mop the floor with Jerrell. But I want to salute to, I really do. I want to salute to Andy Ruiz for real. Because, look, I had Luis Ortiz. I thought Luis Ortiz was going to win. You really came. You showed. You 3 knockdowns is phenomenal. And you still respectful. I just want people to pay attention, man, what he said. He said it. He said it clear as day. He was like, AJ hit me when I wasn't looking. Luis Ortiz, I saw the punch coming. And it's still, I was like, I got to be careful. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Then we're going to move on to the next thing.
A fight of me getting dropped and me dropping him, but I felt strong. I felt explosive, and I was being a little too cautious because, well, he hits hard, so I had to be smart.
Chris,
this is something me and Zen talked about a lot too. If Luis Ortiz didn't hit as hard as AJ, remember, Andy Ruiz against AJ 2, he walked him down the entire fight. He just couldn't cut off the ring. He got outboxed. Andy Ruiz was on his back foot against Luis Ortiz the entire fight. That tells you right there who had more power. And yes, it says 43 for Luis Ortiz, but he's not 43. And, well, okay, allegedly. All right, the only reason I'm saying that, I remember the Joel Romero, Joe Rogan podcast 3 to 4 years ago. I was a young nigga. I was watching it. Yoel said he came up in the same, well, not in the same gym, but he used to train in some gyms where Luis Ortiz was, and he said Luis Ortiz was, a couple years older than him. Yoel right now is listed as, like, I think 42 or 43. So he's basically Yoel saying we're not the same age. That nigga a couple years old. So Louise is probably really 45, 46 years old. So let Luis Ortiz versus Anthony Joshua. Let's see it happen, goddammit.
El boxeo, Andy, después de la pelea, Deontay Wilder se subió arriba del ring, ¿eso te sorprendió? Y también, ¿qué fue lo que te dijo Deontay Wilder?
No, pues me felicitó, me dijo que buena pelea pero sí, me gustaría pelear con él. Si Dios quiere, él gana la victoria también en octubre contra Robert. Esa pelea se puede hacer fácil porque estamos con en los otros dos. So.
And like I mentioned before, we're both in there at Heyman. It's a fight that can definitely.
All right, I'm gonna come back up in this joint. Look, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I have nothing but respect for Andy Ruiz. You did an absolutely amazing job fighting Luis Ortiz. I enjoyed the fight to the absolutely fullest. It was a great time. Amazing time. But for y'all to still question whether or not Deontay Wilder was at a particular, and I don't want to even make it into this because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying it's not even about Deontay Wilder. It's about giving Luis Ortiz his flowers and respecting him for who he is, because I feel like the age he's at, what he's done, we have to respect him. He's a very solid fighter. And that's really what I just wanted to make it, you know, the totality of this particular conversation. Give Luis Ortiz his props. And I don't think Luis Ortiz should retire. That was a question I was thinking about. If he ended up losing this fight, what should he do? Should he hang the gloves up? I don't think you should retire, brother. Hopefully this opens up some avenues to see you fight some of these guys that we would love to see fight. Like I would love to see Dillian White versus Luis Ortiz, Big Baby Miller versus Luis Ortiz. The winner, let me take that back. The loser of Joseph Parker versus Joyce, which I think is going to be Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker versus Luis Ortiz would be fire. Gerald Anderson versus Luis Ortiz. You know, these are fights I would love to see. That would be amazing. I would be paying attention to it. I would be watching, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. But all right, I'm not gonna go too crazy into. But the main, my main point and how I'm gonna finalize this, my main statement for this particular thing when it comes to Deontay Wilder, when it comes to Andy Ruiz, it's gonna be happening, guys. It's gonna be happening. All roads lead to that fight happening. Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz. I don't see how it doesn't. Let me see. Y'all want to watch one more? Yeah, let's watch one more. We'll do one more video. Can we do two more? Let's do Deontay Wilder watches Andy Ruiz drop Luis Ortiz. We're gonna watch that, and then I also want to see one more where Deontay Wilder's calling everyone out. It's good to see Deontay Wilder back, man. It's good, man. So all right, here we go. I'm gonna throw it up for the people. Here we go. Y'all see it. Let's play it. Let's go.
God bless you, Deontay. We're here with the champ. We're with Mr. Norris today. Yes, sir. Give me the chills, goddamn. Right down the middle. Yeah. Motherfucker Ortiz make it.
Ortiz got too comfortable.
Oh, baby boy.
Got too comfortable.
You got him on alert.
Look here, get up. They going for Louise. I love it. I love it. They going for Ortiz. I love the love right there from Deontay Wilder and his team. And I think that's Wilder's wife. That's dope. Like when you in the trenches with some, that's look, but he still went. I love that, man. That's crazy, man. Life is so cool. feel like Wilder really didn't want Ortiz to lose, man. I feel like they got a bond that's kind of like on some different shit. But I'm gonna say this. I will say this. Seeing Andy Ruiz right there, man, busted up and stuff. He got hit with some big shots from Luis Ortiz, and Ortiz got up, man. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, man, hey, man, don't take that as no joke. Don't take that as no joke. And I know he's not. Professionals making millions. Of course they're not. That's going to be a hell of a fight, and I still think that fight's going to happen. I think that's the fight when we come to the – that's what we're talking about, y'all. That's the main topic of conversation. Hey, real quick, I want to say this real quick too, man. Been having this absolutely good time, man, when it comes to stream Fluenceboxing. Good time. Happy Labor's Day to everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good time, man, on my side of the game, man. Still, I look at the time. I'm like, it's still not late. It's still a good time. It's still early. So we having a good time. Everybody hit that like button. If y'all got anything I want to say, man, pop it in, you know what I'm saying, in the comments. You feel me? I got the actual link if y'all want to join. But anyways, man, seeing Deontay Wilder's reaction, you can tell he was hurt just a little bit. You can tell him and his family, they wanted they wanted Luis Ortiz to win, or at least not for something like that. But I felt the same way. I put 100 on it. Zim put 100 on it. We felt the same way, but I love the fact that Luis Ortiz was able to, manage through it. He didn't get finished. It ended up going on, 12 rounds. Andy Ruiz had an absolutely phenomenal performance. I just got done praising him, giving his props. So I'm doing the same thing when it comes to Luis Ortiz. But with that being said, we still have to acknowledge the fact that Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz is inevitable as long as Deontay Wilder gets past Robert Helenius. This is a question that I want to ask people. Whether or not you're going to respond, whether you're not going to put something in the comment section when it comes to this question, it is what it is. But is this a tough fight for Deontay Wilder? Because I feel like everyone's so fixated. Everyone's talking about, everyone's so fascinated. Everyone's paying attention to, everyone's so hyper-focused on the idea of, oh, I thought Deontay Wilder was either never going to come back, he was going to retire, or if he did come back, it would only be for a particular fight. The fact that he's coming back for Robert Helenius and he's having that happening, I feel like, yeah, it's out there. We're paying attention to it. There's steam behind it, but at the same time, I feel like we're not talking about it in an unbiased perspective where we're saying, should we be giving Robert Helenius a chance? I feel like everyone's just assuming like, oh, Wilder's coming back to a gimme fight. You know what I'm saying? Kind of get warmed up. Is his sparring partner, etc. But we're not really talking about like, well, what if Helenius? Yeah, he is a sparring partner, but he upset Adam Kawanaki 2 times. It's not like he's coming in here on a losing streak. So that's kind of what I'm trying to put into perspective is like, okay, no one's really talking about, okay, should we be worried about, or what if Deontay Wilder loses to Helenius, right? And then we have what's the thing that's really we should be talking about, which, as we can see, Adari Panit talking about Joyce versus Martin Bacoli would be a fantastic fight. So Joyce versus Joseph Parker is happening. That's the next fight that we're going to be talking about coming up into this heavyweight tournament. Who's going to win between those two? And I feel like that's not being talked about enough. And I feel like we're really downplaying what's going on. So I put myself in full HD so y'all can pay attention. But I don't like the fact that that's being downplayed when it comes to, Joseph Parker and Joyce. Like, it doesn't really make any sense to me. So, okay, I talked to y'all about Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz. I definitely went long with it, but I'm happy. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Hopefully y'all feeling the same exact way. And if y'all not, hopefully I can get to that level. Tomorrow we got Tuesday. Everybody go back into working days, but it's Labor Day. So hopefully y'all, I'm chilling with your family, and you did chill with your family. Maybe you ate some good food, whatever the case is. Hopefully y'all really enjoyed your day. Hit the like button if y'all up in here. You already know. Y'all seeing the titles, man. Excuse me. Or in the title below, I got Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury December. That's like, okay, you just making up headlines, right? Oh, Jesus. Making shit up. No, that's not what I'm doing. I don't even got no time for that. I'm not even that type of person. So apparently, Tyson Fury said if he can't get, Alexander Usyk in a certain period of time around a certain area, he's like, yo, look, Anthony Joshua was good. And remember, one of the things that I kept telling the people was like, yo, look, You got to understand, like, people want to act crazy and act like AJ is completely out of the picture. He's not. Like, we're going to have to talk about this heavyweight tournament. Like, he's not out of the picture just because he lost. You got to look at the clout he has behind him. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at the, the people who's really just, backing what he's doing. You feel me? And rightfully so, because the same way Deontay Wilder fans could say, oh, Deontay Wilder's only lost to Tyson Fury, AJ could say, I've only lost to Usyk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Be fair. Be 100 with it. So we definitely gonna get into this little video right here. Hold up. It's coming from a Dairy Pennant. Joe Joyce versus Deontay Wilder. Who wins? See, Joe Joyce is the only fighter. Like, look, that's like you. I'm gonna be mad biased when it comes to that, and I don't think it's fair because I'm like Joe Joyce is one of those guys. I think that he beats anyone in the heavyweight division before he turns 38. You feel me? He's on that time. He's on that time ticking bomb. You feel me? Like, he came to the right sport, but he came a little late. So I'm like, he got to get the fights that he needs at the right time before shit kind of get crazy for him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, as of now, he definitely can do crazy damage, but it's like, at that same time, it's like, man, you're going to be avoided. You're not going to get the fights that you deserve, which is unfortunate because they understand if I wait long enough, if I put it, I put him in a position where he can't get this or he can't do this or, etc. That's going to be problematic for him. So that's something he's going to have to deal with. But, even with that being said, make sure, man, if y'all come up in here, man, hit the like button. If y'all ain't hit the like button, man, show some love. Subscribe to the channel. You feel me? If you ain't subscribed to the channel, we you know what I'm saying, nothing but love, having a good time. We're going to go into this video right here. You feel me? Oh, hold up. We got a surprise guest 1 hour into the joint. I didn't see this happening none. I was ready to talk my shit. We got young Zen in the building. Man, what's good with a young Zen? What's happening, man? What's up? I didn't expect this. What's up, my nigga?
What's good, bro? I would have been
How you
earlier,
doing?
but then you were saying your Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So I was like, well, let me let that shit buffer out and let me finish what I need to do real quick. And so I did that. And now I'm
Perfect timing. Yeah, because it's like, isn't it weird? I feel like this happened. This has happened the last 2 to 3 times I've gone live. It's like the beginning. Xfinity is like, hey, nigga, like, I'm just gonna talk some shit to you, but then it's like, okay, everything good after you just kind of just chill. So no, I don't understand what that's, but it is what it is. But hey, I appreciate you coming up in here, man. How you good, man? What's up, man? Talk to people.
Yes, sir. Your boy trying to just eat right. You feel me? Your boy was drinking all. I'm over here exposing myself. Don't matter, boy. I was out here drinking all weekend. You feel me? I was lit. Flew
Still
already
drinking, nigga. It's Labor Day. I'm still drinking.
Yeah, man. I had drunk a little earlier, but I had to tone it down for the rest of the night. So I'm trying to get me some good water in my body. You know what I'm saying?
Keeping the water in me. I haven't ate yet. I'm gonna eat later. But salute to you, Zay. I appreciate you coming up in here. I don't know if you caught anything niggas have been talking about today.
I was popping in and out. I was just
go ahead.
I was just getting shit ready for my shit tomorrow. But I was peeping in like, you got me rolling. He was like, brother, you got me saying all the craziest names. I don't know. Oh man.
No, he was putting some wild. Hey, no, but I got nothing but love for Adari because that shows, man. You on the real heavy side of the game, man. You was putting some of them names in there. I was like, all right.
I didn't even know who he was talking about.
Alphabetical order, nigga.
I'm like, oh,
y'all don't believe in
fights.
when they was naming their child, they said the alphabetical order. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna put C next to S and I'm gonna put E next to I. And it's like, nigga. Nah, but I know who you know what I'm saying? I know who Murat Gusayev is. You know what I'm saying? But against, Evan Demarizian, I don't know who that is. Anthony Joshua versus Luis Ortiz next. I don't think that will ever happen, but damn, I love it. Dillian White versus Jerrell Miller would be an awesome fight. As a Jerrell Miller fan, I would like that to happen 3 years ago. Right now, he's not ready for it. That's what basically I'm saying. Joe Joyce versus Martin Bacoli. I know who Martin Bacoli is. Joe Joyce would definitely beat Bacoli. He's not on his level. Joe Joyce versus Deontay Wilder, who wins? Damn, I don't think I pulled that up. Did I pull that up?
That'd be crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I would want to slice Wilder because of that punching power, but Joe Joyce is a monster.
Yeah, man. See, that's the thing about
Daniel
Douglas because
Wise, man. Daniel Wise career, I don't want to say it's over, but it
it's
wasn't
not.
what it was supposed to be.
But think about this. Let me ask you this. Daniel Dubois versus Jared Anderson, because Jared Anderson is 23-24. Daniel Dubois is 24-25.
That's a good fight.
Who wins that fight? I think Dubois is a little bit too stiff for Anderson.
It all just depends, man. Because when it comes to these fights, I realize, bro, it just all be on mental preparation too. Like, yeah, styles make matchups, but if you mentally locked in, you feel me? Like, think about a Canelo, right? Now, stylistically, you would say he's bad for Bivol, but even if that's the case, doesn't mean Bivol necessarily wins that, right? Because we've seen a guy like Triple G lose, but stylistically, that's a bad matchup for Canelo, right?
But you can argue Triple G didn't really lose though. Like, yeah, okay, the first fight was questionable, but the second fight he easily won. That's not a debate. I don't care who you are.
What I'm saying is, though, mentally, if you're not gonna take advantage of what your style is, then it doesn't matter. Bivol clearly did. That jab was popping Canelo head back like no other, boy. So, but all that being said, I'm just saying, like,
why does a jab have to matter when the fighter is clearly bigger than the other fighter? Like, Erislandy Lara had landed the same jab on Canelo and they said he didn't win. Triple G landed the same jab on Canelo and they said he didn't win.
It's because it was just a look. That's all it was. It was just because Bivol was bigger and they couldn't deny it. You feel me? The other ones, they could be like, well, Canelo was moving and he was slicing and dicing and moving and that. You feel me? And at that time, he had and he didn't go up in weight. That was his weight class. You get what I'm saying? So him going up in weight, they're like, well, sure, if he loses, it'll give maybe more buzz to think people, to let people think that Canelo has lost it or Canelo ain't this and Canelo not that. And so we'll go right back and getting money so people can tune in to see if he'll lose again and if he's a fraud. That's my theory.
I'm not mad at that. It's hard really to disagree with, what your theory is. It's just, I just hate the initial reaction of how people take things because of the ties they have with the particular fighter. Excuse me. It doesn't make sense to me, but at the same time it does because, that's how people make money. You have to drive narratives, you have to create narratives, you have to make people invest it, you have to make people, go crazy for some shit that's probably you shouldn't be going crazy for. But
does that look good? I didn't mean to cut you off. Does that look better? Be going like that?
No, either way, yeah. Picture on point, sound on point. Yeah, you good, bro. Right. Appreciate you hopping up in here for real. Happy Labor Day to everybody, by the way. Was your Labor Day good, man?
Really didn't do too much but rest and just watched my shows. I watched Raising Cain. I finished the King Richard movie. I was just chilling, man. Maybe some breakfast, man. End up getting some good food later. You feel me? So I'm good to go for the night. So all in all, I didn't do nothing Labor Day. Everybody else was partying, probably doing, God knows what in the streets. Chan was at the crib, man. I'm not even going. Well, I was hooping. I hooped both days. In the morning, I went hard, had a workout on Saturday, and then I played. And then, Sunday felt like a workout, bro. The gym was so hot, bro. It was crazy, bro. It had to be like 100+ in that gym, bro. Like,
yeah, I've been watching a lot of shout out to Craig Facts. I've been watching a lot of Craig Facts, and they be hot than a motherfucker. And I'm like, man, it must be crazy hot in LA, man, because them niggas be sweating.
On Sunday, bro.
It'd be crazy. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna ask you this because I need to take a little short bathroom break. You want me to play this video right here? Let it go play through. You want to talk to people? How you feeling? Which one sound better? Because I'm like, it's not a long video. It's only 1:25.
Well, if you wanted to say something through it or whatever, it don't matter. I just do want to make a quick point so we can get back.
Okay, wait, hold on that. Make the quick point to the people. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna use a little bathroom break. I'll be right back.
I'll just wait till you get back then.
No, not for me. Just talk to the people. Keep them in. I'll be right back. All right. Let's keep it. Much love to people. Hey, make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Good stream. This is a good time. I'm loving it, man. Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. I'll be right back.
Well, I can't see who is or who isn't in this stream, but y'all gonna catch some bars right now, man. Check it. So it was Labor Day, and I ain't do a damn thing. Yesterday, I watched Ruiz in the ring. What'd he do? He gave Ortiz that work. I was so hurt because I had to give up on my shirt. because I had to give him $200 to the game. I was like, damn, man, this is a shame. Ortiz is out his prime. I can't believe it. He really went out there and he didn't achieve it. I'm like, damn, Ruiz is cold. He did what he was supposed to do and he knocked the mold. And I'm out here like, damn, what can we do? Are we going to see Ruiz and Deontay Wilder? Ooh, my bad. Y'all like that though, huh? I was just talking about the past and today. I ain't do nothing. I can't believe I put Skrilla down on Ortiz, even though I'm not that mad because the return would have been crazy if I would have hit. Well, me and Flu would have hit, but it didn't happen like that. But it's all good, Ortiz, because you went out there and you didn't give up, even when the odds looked against you, even though the age probably started kicking your ass during the fight. You didn't fold up, man. You didn't just cop out and just say, I'm going to take the knockout. And that's it. You stood on your feet. You got back up multiple times, and you held it down. Shout out to Ruiz. You know what I'm saying? You did what you were supposed to do. I give you credit, man. You beat a great boxer. You know what I'm saying? Now, to Ortiz's defense, if he, and this is my opinion, if you would have caught him, Ruiz a little earlier and not as older, the fight could have been much different. I could tell that Ortiz, he wasn't necessarily gassed out, but he wasn't in the best. He wasn't in the shape that we're used to or accustomed to him, you know what I'm saying, being in. So with that being said, nothing away from Ruiz. You did your thing, bro. You went in there, you know what I'm saying? But let's be real. Is Ortiz a A-level fighter in the heavyweight division? I would say he's not anymore. He's more of a B plus, maybe B fighter, you know what I'm saying? Especially after that last performance, even the Charles Martin performance. We might have been gassing it how he came back. But, he might be a B fighter now, and the age he is and all that. Father Time is undefeated, man. It showed me yesterday. Not trying to disrespect your win, Ruiz, but when we get into the upper echelons, the Joyces, the Usyks, the Furies, the Wilders, you know what I'm saying? The AJ, even though you beat him already, you got washed that second fight. I don't even think you won a round, to be real with you. So when it comes up to these other guys,
He wasn't in shape, though.
That's not my problem.
Okay.
So when it comes to these other guys, can you stand and and do what you did to Ortiz? You know what I'm saying? That's the question. But I think you're a beast, though. I don't think nothing of you. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? You did what you were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And nothing but respect to Ruiz, man.
I respect that. I appreciate you coming in, putting in the input. So what I'm gonna do right here, we're gonna switch gears just a little bit. We're gonna go into I know this is far-fetched. I know this is speculation. I know this is hey, what ifs? I hope so. Yeah, I want this to happen. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do, and I'm gonna play this video because Tyson Fury, he just so happened to call out Anthony Joshua, as you guys can obviously see. Not only was that the case, but apparently Anthony Joshua responded. So we're gonna go into all that. We're gonna see if there's a possibility of them actually fighting. Tyson Fury's acting as if, okay, if I don't get the Usyk fight, I want AJ. And remember, one thing I've been saying is this whole thing is a heavyweight tournament. AJ lost to Usyk, so Usyk now, he's a level below Tyson Fury now. Andy Ruiz beat Luis Ortiz, so Andy Ruiz can call out Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder now has to fight Robert Helenius. That's not the next fight, though. Joseph Parker versus Joyce is the next fight. A lot of people aren't talking about that, which we are talking about. People don't understand how much of a railroad that can come into everything that's happening and being planned, depending on who wins. But, you know what I'm saying? Let's not delay this any longer. Let's get it.
Hey, Tyson Fury here, aka the Gypsy King, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, as you can tell. I think you've all heard that I'm going to be fighting soon within the next few months. And I think that before I announce an opponent, that I need to do this, just in case. Anthony Joshua, I know you've just lost a fight to Usyk and you're doubtless at the moment. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to fight me for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World and the Lineal Championship in the next few months. You're coming off a 12-round fight, so you're match fit, you're ready. I'm giving you a few months' notice. If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble. A Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Let me know if you're interested. If not, I will select another opponent. Thank you very much and good night. Boom.
Hey,
Do you believe that?
say that this man is cat.
Do you believe that? How many fighters have he's okay? All right. I'm not gonna go crazy. Let me ask? Do you believe that? I know you said cat, but how do you feel about that call out?
It was very, 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 very very unconvincing.
It almost looked like he had a script in front of him.
Yeah, man, I don't know what that
Or
was.
he rehearsed that, like, Anthony Joshua, I'm gonna call you out. Like, come on, bro. You ain't gonna fight. We talk we criticize, we talk shit about AJ, but we're fair on every nigga. You ain't gonna fight AJ in December.
Tell him.
And we're gonna get into it because AJ responded, and it was smart of him to respond because he knew Tyson Fury was on some cap in his personal opinion. Because let me ask you this: because Tyson Fury did beat Deontay Wilder 3 times, 2 times. First time, really should have lost. My personal opinion. Y'all can say whatever you want. Controversial. Blah.
Wilder for sure should have won that knockdown.
Do you think AJ could beat Tyson Fury? Do you think he has a chance?
Bro, he can't beat Usyk. How the hell he gonna beat somebody taller with the same skill level?
What is going to okay? I agree with that, but what is going to be there with Tyson Fury that's not going to be there for Usyk? And I'm saying right now, the body.
That's what she gonna bank on, the body.
Yeah.
Wilder
Same way I want to bank on. Excuse me, Wilder with the body for the next 2 fights, and I think that would have been effective for him if he didn't gain weight.
You saying Fury's gonna go to his body?
No, Joshua going to Fury.
I don't see Joshua sticking to that game plan for 12 rounds. I'm sorry.
He did it for Usyk. Looked phenomenal. I keep downplaying Usyk. Do you see Fury calling out everybody but Usyk? Why aren't you calling? Where is the video for Usyk?
All I know is, bro,
you want to fight AJ now? You want to fight Cezora? You want to fight AJ? Why aren't you calling out Usyk? You want me to play this again? I'm gonna play it again.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Tyson Fury, aka the Gypsy King, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, as you can tell. I think you've all heard that I'm going to be fighting soon within the next few months. And I think that before I announce an opponent, that I need to do this just in case. Anthony Joshua, I know you've just lost a fight to Usyk.
Real quick, I want to stop it real quick. Zin's laughing. I don't know if you caught it, but he said, before I announce an opponent, I feel like I need to do this. So that means he will be fighting before the end of the year. Am I being a little bit too speculative, or
he wants to say he's retired? He has nothing to prove. Like, shut up.
No, he's going, guys. We're gonna see Tyson Fury versus Derek Cezora in either late November or mid-December. I promise you, he will fight before the end of the year because he knows he has to fight Usyk next year. He knows the heavyweight tournament is in full effect. I'm telling y'all. Y'all gotta appreciate it. Don't be blind to this, please. Everybody, listen to me. Enjoy this. This is like an MMA Grand Prix tournament you never thought would happen for boxing. I'm gonna let this finish.
And you boutless at the moment. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to fight me for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World and the Lineal Championship in the next few months. You're coming off a 12-round fight, so you're match fit, you're ready. I'm giving you a few months' notice. If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble. A Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Let me know if you're interested. If not, I will select another opponent. Thank you very much.
Why does he have 2 belts around his shoulders?
Looks good. That shit was fake, though. He said that was. I agree. I'm right there with you. And that was one of the most. This nigga had a whole entire like. This nigga had a reading card that he was reading.
It didn't
off.
even sound fluid, man. Like if you was asking me like right now, Chan, who you want to play with? No, 1-on-1 next. I'm just like, before I announce my my next 1-on-1 opponent, I feel like I need to go ahead and say this real quick. You gonna think like, what's wrong with this nigga, man? This nigga here is tripping.
Why are you talking like that?
That'll just be like, hey man, next person I'm gonna get, man, line his ass up, man. Uncle Drew. Where you at, boy? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go crazy with it, or not crazy. I'm just be like, my next opponent, like, I'm not gonna be sitting here talking about before I do this, and this is what I need to say, and AJ, I can send something over to you. Like, bro, shut up.
Like, no, I agree with you 100%. Like, very well everything that he's saying and everything that he's trying to put out there is like, that's all fake. It's like you already have an opponent name. You're gonna fight before the end of the year. Don't act like none of that shit is like that's just what it is.
And Joshua wouldn't even fight that man at the end of the year, bro, after just taking an L like that.
Right. I like what Adari Pena just said. Danny Dubois versus Frank Sanchez. I continue to forget about Frank Sanchez. Frank Sanchez is a very he's a formidable opponent when it comes to the heavyweight division. Let me throw this up though for everyone real quick. So this is Anthony Joshua's response to Tyson Fury saying what he said. This is crazy. Turn it off. So Tyson Fury said, "Yo, Anthony Joshua, what you saying, Big G? Let's give the fans what they want." As Usyk is bitching.
What?
Okay.
Why would he say that?
Mm-hmm.
What is Usyk complaining about? Him beating him?
No, I think what Tyson Fury's trying to say is he wants to fight in December, and Usyk probably doesn't want to fight in December. Usyk's probably like, let's fight next year.
Though, man, he barely made this fight happen because of the war.
I agree, but it's all promotional. It's like people don't realize that. Like, you trying to say AJ, I'm ready in December? I think that's bullshit. It's like AJ just fought Usyk. Like, come on, bro. Like, you was just trying to fight Derek Cezora. Let me see what he's saying.
Titles in, as Eddie Hearn's calling it, the biggest fight in boxing history. I think that's one that has to happen.
I won't lie, y'all. I think I got clickbaited because this doesn't look.
I got clickbaited.
I think I got clickbaited, y'all, because I'm like, I thought this was an AJ response. I thought it was gonna be like Twitter or something, but nah, I think they clickbaited me, man.
Yeah, if I hype ain't shit for that.
Yeah, if I hype, fuck y'all niggas. Nah, but I appreciate y'all because I get a lot of my reaction videos from y'all. So, but still though, like, damn, y'all clickbaited me.
Hey, what is this dude? Hey, shout out to this dude before I even say his name. T Street, man. I never forget.
T Street controversy all day, man. That's young niggas. Young. That's when niggas was, you know what I'm saying, 21, 22, when I was still prime. You feel me?
We was young, bro. I remember we
young
was
nigga.
He was like this nigga
T Street really put me on. Like,
he was
that was the type of shit I wanted to be on, man.
He was walking around Vegas, bro. He said he was dehydrated. He said he had to jump the fence and then he ripped his pants.
No, that nigga really been through shit, man. That nigga came from a coma. Salute to T Street, man. That's one of the most solid
that Vegas day,
boxing channels ever to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I was gonna go live, but I'm just tired, so I'm not gonna go live. You know what I'm talking about, bro?
I want to say yes. I want to say this to the people too, man. Y'all see what we on now, man. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, like, the live streams finna be on a whole nother level from here on out. You know what I'm saying? We really taking shit serious. We just want to show love. Real quick. All right, look. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz 2023. We talked about it. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury December. Most likely it's not gonna happen. That's all cap. So we want to go ahead and get into, and at least, you know what I'm saying, Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. Okay? And there's a reason why I put this, because there's a reason why all this connects. Is because we're talking about the heavyweight division. We're talking about the fact that, we're in a heavyweight tournament. So the next big fight when it comes to everything that's going on is Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. And I love that Adori, he brought in the fact of Frank Sanchez, because Frank Sanchez is someone we got to talk about. Jared Anderson is someone we got to talk about, but Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce is the next big fight happening. It's not Robert Helenius versus Deontay Wilder. So how do you feel about that, Zen? I'm about to pull up some shit when it comes to that. But how do you feel about that, Zen?
Is that next weekend or the weekend after, Joe Joyce?
I'm about to pull that up. I don't think it's this weekend. I'm going to pull that up real quick. I'm about to figure out when that fight is actually going to happen. I should know off the top, but I don't. But I'm like, how do you think this particular fight is something we should be paying attention to when it comes to the heavyweight division, or do you think it's just something that's just happening just to make some money? Like, do you think there's any type of what's the word? Is there any type of weight,
Joyce's resume?
Importance to this particular fight?
It adds to Joe Joyce's resume. It gives Joe Joyce a legitimate dub on his.
You said that's a great point.
Career. Right. He wants to fight somebody next. He can be like, well, I beat Daniel Dubois and I beat Joseph Parker, and you can't discredit Joseph Parker because Anthony Joshua was the first one that gave him that L, and then he's beaten multiple champions. So it's not like he's some slouch in the division. He just, like me and Flu Ben said, he got rushed just like Daniel Dubois. He fought a dude like AJ, and then Daniel Dubois fought a dude like Joe Joyce that was already, you know what I'm saying, rolling and going and have money behind them, and et cetera, et cetera. And they went in there and took an L that they shouldn't have. And, you know what I'm saying, it just derailed, you know, certain things. Luckily for Daniel Dubois, he didn't fight somebody that he shouldn't have fought again back-to-back like Joseph Parker did. So, yeah.
It's like, this is my question when it comes to this particular fight, because, you know, Joseph Parker is going to play the safe game. You know, he's not going to really try and put himself in a position where he can really get himself, you know, in a position where he can get hurt or make it dangerous. Do you think, where's the money at? You know what I'm saying? Because with AJ now being in a position where he is, AJ is not the money fight, right? He's not there no more. But in a sense or in a way, you can look at this particular fight and say, whoever wins this fight probably is going to get their next fight is going to be against AJ to build AJ up. Am I wrong? Is that me kind of capping? But in my opinion, I think whoever wins this fight, they're going to fight AJ next.
Jojo,
I think this is who AJ is going to fight next.
Gotta get on his knees and pray to whoever he believes in. It should be one and only, but whoever he believes in, and hope that Joyce loses, because that is going to put AJ, I don't want to say just completely out the contention seat, but it's going to make him look very, very shaky if he fights a Joyce and gets worked like I think he probably will get worked. Because one thing Joyce has is the art of deception. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, you were never a fan of Joyce, right?
No, I never disliked him or liked him. I never really watched too much of him. I only saw that Daniel Dubois fight. That's the only fight I ever really saw of him.
You're never a big fan, though. I know you didn't like Joyce. You said he was weak.
For sure, didn't like him.
You said he was weak, man.
Joyce?
Tell the truth.
I never said Joyce was weak.
Tell the truth.
Don't be trying to spread lies on my name now.
Will Smith, tell the truth.
Don't be out here lies, man.
Okay, let me. Okay, all right. Let me say this: when it comes to Joyce versus Joseph Parker, because this is the next big fight in the tournament, and I feel like, and maybe I'm over, you know what I'm saying, over exaggerating. Maybe I'm over capping. Maybe I'm being a little bit extra. But I feel like we're the only boxing channel who's really putting out the obvious. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't see the tournament that's going on when it comes to the heavyweight division. Have you heard any other boxing YouTube channel talking about a heavyweight boxing tournament? But it's just because it's not in the same promotional companies, we don't think that's what's happening. Like, let me ask you this then. Who do you think is going to get the winner of Joyce versus Joseph Parker?
I really don't know, bro.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Like, what's the point of this fight happening? Like, who? I think. Okay, this is probably a better question. Do you think Joseph Parker and Joyce is at the worst position of the heavyweights right now?
Joseph Parker, yes. Joyce.
Okay. You said no?
I said Joseph Parker, yes. Joyce, no.
Okay, why Joyce no? Let me ask that.
Because Joseph Parker is still relatively young, and Joyce is a little older. So him beating a younger guy will show him that all these younger guys that are younger than him, like he's the oldest probably out of all of them besides Ortiz. He's like 36 or something like that, 37. So he's probably like the oldest like elitist out of all of them. So it'll show them that I might be older, but I still got it, and I'm still a problem. Kind of like how I was at that age. You know, when Ortiz was around that 37, 38, 39 range, he was still very deadly.
That's a good point. Yeah, Luis Ortiz at that age was fucking. I know that's why it kind of hurts, like watching them. Anyways, yeah, but that's actually a great point. Go ahead.
It's like if he does beat Joyce, that's a good look. But nobody really is on. Joyce isn't a. I'm not trying to disrespect Joyce, but he's not big in the boxing heavyweight division like he should be. So the win won't be as prevalent. But for Joyce, it will be like, oh, you beat Joseph Parker? Who is this? Like, let's pay to Joyce now. You get what I'm saying? So it's more beneficial.
And it's attached to Anthony Joshua.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like beating him, will help Joyce notoriety. So that's what I'm saying. It's more of a win for him. Because now if he wins this fight, he can say, like, I want, I don't know, whoever else he feel like. He can say, I want Ruiz next, for real.
So the way I look at it, like when it comes to the, this entire heavyweight division, I agree with a lot of things that you're saying, actually, Zen. Okay. Anthony Joshua versus Usyk to happen. AJ, like when I look at a tournament, Usyk is like number 2, right? Tyson Fury is number 1. Usyk is number 2. AJ is like that. Okay, he's a sub that can come in, but at the same time, he has a lot of value to him. So if I can play against him, if I can be in the same position as him, if I can make some type of business work with him, there's going to be something generated from it. So there's still a lot of value when it comes to that particular asset, right? Now we're coming to Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. Andy Ruiz beat Luis Ortiz. So Andy Ruiz, his value is now, okay, I would love to see AJ versus Andy Ruiz 3. That's still a possibility. And Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder is a fight that can happen because Andy Ruiz is under the same banner as him, and that's a fight that can easily be made.
Excuse me.
So now we have those 2 options, right? So everything's working in, perfect. So as long as everything keeps moving the way it should, all right, Deontay Wilder, you got to beat Robert Helenius. If Robert Helenius ends up winning, that fucks everything up. But if Deontay Wilder wins, Wilder can choose, okay, I'm going to fight Ruiz, or he can say, I'm going to hold off on that, and Ruiz can actually go and try and get the Anthony Joshua 3rd fight. People aren't talking about that. He can try and get that. Because what if Deontay Wilder says, I want the winner of Parker versus Joyce? And people are going to say, why would he want to fight the winner of Joyce versus Joseph Parker?
I get his UK fans up.
There. The UK fans are essential because now we're talking about AJ. We're talking about Usyk, etc. Now, maybe will that happen? I don't know. Probably not. PBC, they're probably like, we want Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder. That's probably what they want. Right? We're probably that's probably what we're heading toward. How can you go against that grain?
Tough.
But if Tyson Fury decides to come back before the end of the year against Derek Cezora, that's what I think is going to end up happening. That's my personal opinion. I think Joyce versus Joseph Parker, whoever wins that fight, I think they're, unfortunately, as much as that's an amazing fight, they're going to be the few heavyweights we're going to be like, it was a great fight, but I don't know if we really give a fuck about you fighting or putting you in a position where we want to see some of these great fights. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, at the end of the day, we want to see AJ back in the ring. We want to see Tyson Fury back in the ring. We want to see Deontay Wilder back in the ring. We want to see Andy Ruiz back in the ring. Those are the guys we want to see. Everyone else is like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be the case. I love this fight. Joyce versus Joseph Parker meeting in the boxing ring. It's happening. I don't know who's going to win. It's going to be an amazing fight. It's going to go crazy. I don't know how it's going to end up turning out. I'm absolutely tuned in, but even with that being the case, even with that being said, it just is what it is. I'm tuned in. I'm paying attention. That's how it goes. But all I want to see is what's going to happen when it comes to Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. What's going to happen when it comes to Andy Ruiz, next opponent, hopefully against Deontay Wilder. Who's AJ going to fight? Where's Tyson Fury going to go from here? Who's Usyk going to end up winning the challenge? That's how I feel.
I know who does Usyk. That's the biggest question, to be real. He got all the belts but one.
I think Usyk is in a beautiful position right now. That's the thing. And I don't think that's what people don't want to talk about. And the reason why people don't want to talk about that is because we got to talk about Tyson Fury. Because a lot of people want to say Tyson Fury is really the heavyweight GOAT. So it's like, okay. Yeah, Usyk did what he did against AJ, but a lot of people don't want to do. It's interesting to me because it's like, y'all want to boost up AJ, and rightfully so, because AJ is a very good boxer. He's a very great boxer. He should go down in the Hall of Fame. But now that when he loses, all of a sudden, who beats him when he loses, the way that you're, you know what I'm saying, portraying it, or the way that you're putting it into perspective is like, okay, he really wasn't that good. So he was supposed to win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's like, it doesn't make sense to me because it's so fickle.
That's the narrative?
A lot of people ain't rocking with Usyk winning.
That's the narrative, though?
A lot of people ain't rocking. That's how I see it. Maybe
I
might be tripping. A lot of people ain't rocking with the narrative, man. I'm telling you.
I lost Skrilla on the first fight, bro. I watched every round in detail. I couldn't believe that Joshua lost me that money. To this day, I can't believe it. In the second fight, I saw the highlights. I didn't get to see the whole thing. Hopefully, I can see it eventually. But I saw the highlights, and I'm just like, it was basically low key something same as the first, just a bunch of work. Of course, I'm not saying AJ didn't get his licks in, but he didn't do the big man game like you said he should have did. Still didn't do it.
Didn't do it in the second fight.
Didn't do the big man game, so he paid the price.
If you remember, there was one thing I said when it came to him switching over to Robert Garcia, which I think was absolutely an amazing trainer. But I said he never trained someone the particular size, physical attributes, etc., that AJ had. How is that going to come into play in an actual fight? And we saw it. At some points, it did look good, but it was like, that might be not the case. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like Michael Hunter, U.S. is going to put off a big upset, but man, I've been talking about Michael Hunter for a long time, man. Like I got looked at a certain way when I tried to put him on game, man. In a certain fight, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all you got to do is listen to your coach.
Shout out to Adari.
Yeah, pin that. Hopefully, I'm saying that right.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Hey man, shout out to you, dog, because you bringing a lot of knowledge to the table that a lot of other people probably not even aware of. So shout out to you.
Talk about it, then. That's one thing, man. I'll be appreciating y'all, man. Y'all really be coming with the knowledge, man. Y'all don't be on no bullshit, man. That's why I'm like, man, we really got some of the most educated, you know what I'm saying, family members when it comes to basketball, boxing, period. Hey man, I'm chilling. It's Labor Day. I'm chilling. It's having a good time, nigga.
You wanted to say basketball so bad.
Bro, but I know, nigga, look, okay. All right, look, hold up. Let me make sure I went through all the topics first. All right, we went through most of the topics for the most part. If y'all want to end up coming in here, you know what I'm saying? Y'all want to say anything? You want to talk about anything else? Drop it in the motherfucking chat. We can talk about it. There's a link right there. But Young Zen, you know what I'm saying? We here. Happy Labor Day. You feel me? So we have the end of joint. How your day go, dog? You know what I'm saying? Everything was good?
Oh yeah, like I was saying earlier, I didn't really do too much of nothing. Make some breakfast, you feel me? Watch my shows, watch the good movie. Probably gonna try to watch something after this, even though I got nothing to watch. I'm gonna figure it out though. But yeah, man, I can't complain, dog. I can't complain. What about you, dog?
Yeah, no, everything was solid. Y'all already know. Get right. Gotta get right for tomorrow. Get back in the work day. You know what I'm saying? But no, everything was good, man. Labor Day was solid. feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Eat some good food at the end of the day with. But we'll appreciate everybody for real. For real, it was a good time. Week was good. How you feeling tomorrow? What you thinking about doing a pod? You know what I'm saying? Is influence. How you feeling?
My
tomorrow, next day.
day or Thursday, because I'll probably get back to like tomorrow to do it.
Let me know. Hey, salute to the people. Respect to everybody, man. I want to appreciate you ending up hopping up in here. You know what I'm saying? Getting this late night, you know what I'm saying? Conversation analyst, you know what I'm saying? Breaking it down, all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? I want to appreciate Adari Pennant, you know what I'm saying? He was being here, you know, from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? You absolutely amazing input. So we appreciate y'all, for real, for real. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's gonna be with Fluenceboxing, with the live, it's gonna be with the videos. Either way, I'm gonna be back with some content. So y'all just pay attention. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Zoom in, focus. You already know what it is. BlakGooseTV all day. Anything you want to say to people before we get up out of here, Zen?
Nah, man, just have a good week, dogs.
Hey, it's the beginning of the week, but it's like one day into it. So stay strong. I know how hard that shit is. We're gonna get through it though, and we're gonna get to the end of it. Salute to people. Much love. Stay up. We out here for sure, for sure. BlakGooseTV all day.